Good morning, students. Last class we have seen about pilotaxy, and today we are going to start with leaf mosaic. In leaf mosaic, leaves tend to fit in with one another and adjust themselves in such a way that they may secure the maximum amount of sunlight with the minimum amount of overlapping. This is called leaf mosaic. So leaf mosaic is nothing but leaves are tend to fit with one another and adjust themselves. What for they have to fit one another and adjust themselves? To secure the maximum amount of sunlight with the minimum amount of overlapping. And this is called what? Leaf mosaic. The lower leaves have longer petioles and successive upper leaves possess shorter leaves. Okay. Example, acalpa. Then leaf type. The pattern of division of leaf into discrete components or segment is termed as leaf type. Based on the number of segments, the leaves are classified into simple leaf and compound leaf. Okay. And there are different types in both the simple and compound leaf. Okay. A leaf is said to be simple when the petiole bears a single lamina. The lamina may be entire, that is undivided, example mango, or incised to any depth but not up to the midrib or petiole, and this is example cucurbita. For this example is cucurbita. Actually in simple leaf there are two types. One is the leaves with our entire margin. With entire margin there is we cannot see any incision. We cannot see any incision over the leaves. We cannot see any incision over the leaves, and this is called what? Simple leaves or entire leaves. In some leaves, such as you can see the leaves of hibiscus. Hibiscus leaves, you can see some margins with incisions, isn't it? Some sharp margins you can see in the hibiscus margins, and this is called what? Incision. In some plant the incision may be extend up to the rachis, sometimes up to the rachis. In that case we can see the compound leaves. In compound leaves, when the incision run up to the rachis or petiole level, then it forms a compound leaves. But in simple leaves the incisions will not be extend up to the midrib level. Okay. So next, compound leaf. Compound leaf is one in which the main rachis bears more than one lamina surface. In simple leaf we can see only one lamina in the midrib or rachis end. But in compound leaf the main rachis bears more than one lamina surface, and each called as leaflets. Compound leaves have evolved to increase total lamina surface. There is one axillary bud in the axil of the whole compound leaf. The leaflets, however, do not possess axillary buds. The leaflets, however, do not possess axillary buds. Then pinnately compound leaf. A pinnately compound leaf is defined as one in which the rachis bears laterally a number of leaflets arranged alternately or in an opposite manner, as in Tamarindus and Cassia. So what is pinnately? There are two types of compound leaves. One is pinnately compound leaves, another one is palmately compound leaves. In pinnately compound leaves, the rachis is simple and unbranched, which bears leaflets directly on its sides. There are on both sides of the rachis the leaves are present, as like arrangement of leaves, either may be in alternate form or in the opposite form. Example, rose, neem. Unipinnate, example, rose and neem. And unipinnate leaves are of unipinnate. Sorry, I jumped. Really sorry, children. A pinnately compound leaf is defined as one in which the rachis bears laterally number of leaflets arranged alternately. Yes, correct. And unipinnate. In unipinnate, the rachis is simple and unbranched, which bears leaflets directly on its sides in alternate or opposite manner. Example, rose, neem. Unipinnate further divided into two types. One is peripinnate, another one is Imparipinnate. What is paripinnate? So, when the leaflets are even in number and the leaf is said to be paripinnate. See children, you can see here in this case, in this one, the leaflets are even in number and end with pair, 2 leaves. This is called what? Paripinnate. At the end of rachis also it possesses 2 leaves. That means the leaves are in, the leaflets are in even number. But in near to that you can see at the end of rachis there is only one leaflet is present, and this is, it is not paired, and it is called what? Imparipinnate. So in unipinnate there are 2 types. In unipinnate only one rachis is present on either side of the rachis. Leaflets we have seen. In unipinnate there are 2 types. One is paripinnate, another one is imparipinnate. In paripinnate even number of leaflets we can see. In imparipinnate odd number of leaflets we can see. In paripinnate the leaves are in paripinnate the leaves are yes, right. In imparipinnate the leaves in imparipinnate at the end of rachis only one leaflets are present, right? Okay. Example I have given, please see to it. Next one is bipinnate. The primary rachis produce secondary rachis which bear the leaflets. The secondary rachis are known as pinnae. Number of pinnae varies depending on the species. Example Deinonyx. Okay. The primary rachis produces secondary rachi which bear the leaflets. The secondary rachi are known as pinnae. Number of pinnae varies depending on the species. Example Deinonyx. And then tripinnate. When the rachis branches thrice, the leaf is called tripinnate. The secondary rachis produce tertiary rachi which bear the leaflets. Decompound. When the rachis of leaf is branched several times, it is called decompound. Example Ducus carota, then Coriandrum sativum. So let's see one by one. See, the first 2 are example for unipinnate. In this first one is paripinnate, second one is imparipinnate. In this type only one rachis we have seen. From this rachis on either side leaflets we can see. And then in the C diagram is an example for bipinnate. In bipinnate you can see that one main axis I have seen in the center. One main axis you can see in the center, that is main rachis. On either side of the main rachis, secondary rachis we can see. Over the secondary rachis, the leaflets have been present. Okay, this is bipinnate. And tripinnate, so from the primary rachis, secondary rachi are present. From the secondary rachi, tertiary rachis will be present, and this is called what? Tripinnate. And this is called what? Decompound. That is, leaves are divided into many branches. Example Coriandrum. And this is called what? Decompound leaf. Okay. So far we have discussed about pinnately compound leaves. Now we are going to see palmately compound leaves. The palmately compound leaf is defined as one in which petiole bears terminally one or more leaflets which seems to be radiating from a common point like fingers from the palms. Okay, that you could understand, I think so. This sentence is all children. Palmately compound leaf. A palmately compound leaf is defined as one in which a petiole bears leaf at its terminal region. It will not bears leaves on its either side. The petiole bears 1 or 2 or 3 or more than 3 leaves at its terminal end, and it look like leaves are radiating from a common point like fingers originating or radiating from the palms. That's what it is called as what? Palmately compound leaves. Here unifoliate. When a single leaflet is articulated to the petiole is said to be unifoliate. Example citrus. Okay, right? See here you can see the unifoliate leaves. Example, and bifoliate, 2 leaves. 3 if it is present at its terminal end, the petiole has 3 leaves, it is called trifoliate. If petiole possesses 4 leaves on its on its terminal end is called quadrifoliate. More than 4 it is called what? Multifoliate. Example also given one by one. Please refer the diagram. And bifoliate, when there are 2 leaflets articulated to the petiole, it is said to be bifoliate. Example Zornia typhylla. And trifoliate, there are 3 leaflets articulated to the petiole, it is said to be trifoliate. Example wood apple, that is Aegle marmelos, and clover, trifolium. Quadrifoliate, there are 4 leaflets articulated to the petiole, it is said to be quadrifoliate. Example for that Paris quadrifolia, Marsilia. Then multifoliate or digitate, 5 or more leaflets are joined and spread like fingers from the palm, as in Cleome, Pentaphylla and Bombyx saifa. So these are the various types of leaves we can see. And next we are going to see with the modification of leaves. The main function of leaf is food preparation by photosynthesis. Leaves modified to perform some specialized functions. They are described below. Actually the main function of leaves is photosynthesis and transpiration only. But apart from this, the leaves are performing another functions also, many other functions also. What are the other functions they will perform in plants are? First one is leaf tendrils, that you know very well. Some of the weak plant cannot be stand erect. In that cases it should depend on some supporters to climb over it. Okay, right. So in leaf tendrils, the leaves are modified into tendrils. This tendrils climbing over the supporting plant, and this is called what? Leaf tendril. Okay. In some plants, stem is very weak and hence they have some special organ for attachment to the support. So some leaves are partially or wholly modified into tendril. Tendril is a slender, wiry, coiled structure help in climbing the support. Some of the modification of leaf tendrils are given below. Entire leaf, that means entire leaf modified into tendril. It is example Lathyrus and stipules. Some of the leaves are modified into stipules. Example Smilax. Terminal leaflets. Example Naravelia. Then leaf tip, example Gloriosa. Apical leaflets, example Pisum. Petiole, example Clematis. And leaf hooks. Leaf hooks. Some plants leaves are modified into hook like structure and help the plant to climb. In cat's nail, an elegant climber, the terminal leaflets become modified into 3 and very short, stiff and curved hooks, very much like the nails of a cat. These hooks cling to the bark of a tree and act as an organ of support for climbing. The leaf spines of asparagus also act as hooks. Okay, leaf hooks. In some plants, actually leaves are modified into hook like structure, help the plant to climb. Okay. In cat's nail, like you can see the nail of cats, how it is curved, like it is curved, the nails are curved like that. In Bignonia anguis, an elegant climber, the terminal leaflets, actually the terminal end of leaflets become modified into 3 very short, stiff, curved hook. This help for the cling over the bark to support the climbing. So next one, this is what? Leaf hooks. Next one is, here you can see children, leaf modification, spines. So in Opuntia, leaves are modified into spines. In Bignonia, leaves are modified into hooks. In Utricularia, leaves are modified into leaf blader. And in aloe, it serve as storage leaves. In picture plant Nepenthes, it acts as a picture. And in acacia, it acts as a pilloculate. In Delonix, it like a floral leaves. In Pisum, it acts as a tendrils. These are the various modification of leaves. Let's see about the leaf spines and prickles. Leaves of certain plants develop spines and structure either on the surface or on the margin as an adaptation to herbivory and xeric condition. Example, Sisyphus argemone mexicana, Solanum trilobatum. In xerophytes such as Opuntia and Euphorbia, leaves and stipules are modified into spines. Okay, it's nothing but the leaves are modified into spines, or that's it. Prickles, or what is prickles? Prickles are small sharp structure which are the outgrowth from the epidermal cells of the stem or leaf. It helps the plant in scrambling over other plant. It is also protective against herbivory. Example, Rosa's app. And storage leaves. Some plants of saline and xerophytic habitats and members of the family Grassulaceae commonly have fleshy or swollen leaves. These succulent leaves store water, mucilage or food material. Such storage leaves resist desiccation. Example, aloe, agave, bryophyllum. And pillowed are flat green colored leaf like modification of petioles or rachis. The leaflets or lamina of the leaves are highly reduced or caducous. The pillows perform photosynthesis and other functions of leaves. Example, Acacia auriculiformis, Australian acacia and Parkinsonia. And next one is picture plant. The leaf becomes modified into picture. For every modification you can refer the figure given in the books. With the help of the figure you can understand the structure and modification of leaves, right? Picture plant, the leaf becomes modified into picture in Nepenthes and Sarracenia. In Nepenthes, the basal part of the leaf is laminar and the midrib continue as coiled tendril, and the apical part of the leaf is modified into a picture. Then the mouth of the picture is closed by a lid, which is the modification of the leaf apex. Okay, so this is what picture plant, this story all you can hear. Picture plant, it's an insectivorous plant. The end of the leaves are modified into a picture. Picture means what, like kuduvaima, and that's mouth of the picture is closed with a lid, and when insects sit over the lid of the mouth, it secrete mucilaginous secretions, and the insects fall inside the picture due to that mucilaginous substance. And next one is bladder. In bladderwort, that is Atricularia, a rootless, free floating or slightly submerged plant common in many water bodies. Then the leaf is very much segmented. Some of the segments are modified to form bladder-like structure with a trap door entrance that trap aquatic animalcules. That's it. And floral leaves. Floral parts such as sepals, petals, stamens and carpels, modified leaves. Sepals and petals are leafy. They are productive in function and considered non-essential reproductive parts. Petals are usually colored, which attract the insects for pollination. Stamens are considered a pollen-bearing microphyls and micropels, and carpels are ovule-bearing megasporophylls. And leaf duration. Leaves may stay and function for few days to many years, largely determined by the adaptation to climatic condition. Caducus, falling off soon after formation. Example, Opuntia. Cissus quadrangularis is an example for caducus, that is Fagaceous. When the leaf is formed, as soon as it formed, immediately it falling off, that is called caducus. And next one is deciduous, falling at the end of growing season, so that the plant is leafless in winter summer season. Example, maple, plumeria, launia, erythremia. So in deciduous, the leaves are falling at the growing season, at the end of growing season. So the plant is without leaf, or plant is leafless in summer on winter season. And evergreen, leaves persist throughout the year, falling regularly, so that the tree is never leafless. Example, evergreen. Example, mimosops and calophyllum. And marcescent, leaves not falling but weathering on the plant, as in several members of Fagaceae. These all about what, is a aging of or a duration of leaf. That's it. So we finished this lesson, children, and for this week biology weekly test portion is this third lesson, botany third lesson. I'll send it in group also. Botany third lesson is the portion for this week biology test. Okay, so complete it, children. And apart from book bag, you will get some important things inside the book also. So what are the questions I set as an important things, and I gave as a homework. Please read that also for monthly test, right? Okay, and keep ready yourself for weekly test. I'll get you in my next class. Bye.